Hello. Let's go through a quick example here of how to use custom fields to answer a question that often comes up when you're dealing with selling items to customers. Often the question that comes up is that when we're looking at individual sales history lines here, do your salespeople actually adhere to margins? In other words, when they're selling items, are they actually making the margins that you hope that they're making when they're selling, taking into account discounts and price negotiations and quantities and so on? And that's a common question, and in BusinessVision, a very difficult to answer question. So let's go ahead and create a scenario where we can answer that question using custom fields. We'll go into custom fields and we're going to generate a couple of new fields. The first one is ideal price, and we'll call that ideal price. It's going to be a calculated field or a price field, so we'll call it a decimal field. We'll go into the expression editor and let's use the current cost total, which is the quantity sold times the cost. Where are we here? Current cost total. And we'll multiply that times our expected margin. Let's say that generally our expected margin is 50%. So we'll go ahead and accept that. We'll apply that to add that to the field list, and we'll save. And what you'll see here now is our ideal price has now been calculated, and that's the current cost with a 50% margin over it to generate what the sell price total should be. So we can, of course, at this point compare these two. We can look at these and say, okay, well, in this particular case, the ideal price was lower than the sell price total, but in this case, our ideal price was $1,500, even though we sold for $1,100. So I can individually go through these lines and determine, if there's a problem with a salesperson or a given customer or whatever. That's not ideal, though. I might have thousands and thousands of lines to go through to make this determination. So let's take this a little bit further. What I'll do now is I'll go into custom fields and let's generate a new custom field. Let's call this less than margin. And margin. This one's going to be a Boolean or a checkbox field, and we'll go into the expression editor and let's say that we're interested in finding out when we want fields, the sell price total. Again, the sell price total is quantity times selling price, taking into account discounts. So we want sell price total is less than the ideal price. Let's scroll up here. There it is. And we'll select that. And we'll click on apply to add it to the field list, and we'll click on save. So notice what we see now. Basically, if we look down this list, we can see that in any case where there's a check, it's telling us that the ideal price was in fact higher than the sell price total. So in this case, Alex Brown should have been selling it around $460 to customer Ace, but instead sold it for $44.70, taking into account quantity sold and discounts and so on. So highly, highly useful. Of course, all the other tools that are available in the de-analyzer grid are useful as well. I can, for example, say I only want to look at those items that are sold at less than margin. And of course, the people I want to talk to about that are the salespeople, so I'm going to group by salesperson. So now what I have is a group list by salesperson. Within that list, I can of course sort by part number or group by product code further if I wanted to. And now these are all the items that were sold by this salesperson to that particular customer, and it's telling us in fact those cases where we've sold and the ideal price was actually higher than the selling price that we offered. You can even go further than this and set in additional criteria or custom fields to say that, in the case of it being $2, I probably don't want to worry about it, but if in fact the difference is higher, I might want to pursue that with the salesperson and find out what's going on. Again, just one of potentially hundreds of different ways that you can use custom fields to have real-time reports that update automatically. As time goes by, you can just keep looking at this list and reviewing it to determine if your salespeople are selling at too low a margin, or if in fact your expectations are too high for certain product categories, and you can elaborate even further and have different margins for different product categories.